Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Adriana Monique Alvarez with Alma Publishing, and we are continuing our conversations with the contributors of Awakening. And we are lucky ducks because we've got Lindsay on today. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
I like it. Where in the world are you joining us from?
I am in Boise, Idaho. Smoky
Awesome.
Boise, Idaho.
I was going to ask you, is it real smoky out there?
Mm-hmm.
The smoke finally cleared here probably 2 days ago. We got a little bit of rain and it kind of cleared up, but I'm still feeling a little bit,
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us what you wrote about in your chapter and why.
So I wrote about the chakra system, which is the energetic system in the body. And I wrote about it in respect to self-esteem. Because we can use the chakra systems for so many things: health, healing, manifesting. We can use the chakra system for. But my specialty when working with my clients and women in my classes is really understanding the programs that are working against us in order to be fully. And so it was really important for me to kind of fine tune and hone in on the aspect of self-esteem and exploring the themes of the chakras in relationship to our own personal worth.
Powerful. Now, when you there's a few things going on in the world. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
So what have you noticed? How are we being most impacted? Which chakra or chakras are we feeling it the most in?
Well, for sure, the root chakra, Muladhara, is our chakra at the base of the spine. And the theme of root chakra is safety. And I think we can all agree on some level, we are questioning whether we're safe or not. We aren't sure what's going on from day to day, what we're supposed to be doing, what our families are supposed to be doing. Here in America, we have all kinds of disruption. We have Corona, we have everything going on with Black Lives Matter and just upset over, we have the election coming up, which is concerning, and nobody knows what's going to happen at this point. And so our root chakra, our sense of safety is really being dismantled right now because we've had these systems in place for hundreds of years, government systems, and even silent, I guess, systems against people of color. And we've had these constructs of the way our society works, and every aspect of society is being overturned right now. And so feeling safe is very difficult for us. And I think that's why a lot of people are really struggling with coming out of their little COVID cocoons, because the outside world is so disrupted. It's very hard to feel safe there. And when we don't feel safe, the nervous system's constantly firing. We're always in fight or flight. It's very hard for us to create and thrive when we're just trying to survive. Our bodies are just in survival mode.
It's so true. So when we're just trying to figure out where can I be safe, how can I be safe, we are not thinking about, oh, wow, what's my best life look like?
Yeah.
We're not there.
Yeah, no, it's impossible to get there when the nervous system is on such high alert. It's literally telling our body, all we need to do is survive. Just get through today, right?
Yes.
There's no dreaming and scheming and planning when we don't know what tomorrow looks like for us.
So true. So knowing that, we're being impacted to one degree or another, what are some practical things we can do to help calm the nervous system, to give us this sense of safety, to help our physical body and our emotional body through this?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of grounding techniques we can use, and I think those are helpful, but somewhat superficial. Because, you can go lay in the grass, and I am always in the grass. Ask my husband. I'm literally always in the grass. But when it comes to really digging in and establishing a true sense of safety, not just a fleeting, I'm connecting to Mother Earth right now type of feeling, we really have to evaluate what safety looks like for us and how we can be supported in safety. And that comes back to, in the book, I write about the root chakra develops in infancy and toddlerhood, right? Our idea of safety was actually never even ours. It was put on us by our families and caregivers and the people that looked after us. And sometimes safety doesn't look exactly safe, but it's comfortable. And with all the disruption in the world, this is what I've been teaching my clients. With all the disruption in the world, we have a really beautiful opportunity to redefine a lot of our values, one of them being safety. If I had a life of chaos, that's going to feel kind of safe to me because it's familiar. Maybe instead of dreaming of safety, I go ahead and say, all right, this really looks like to me now, but this is what I really want it to look like. I want to feel supported. I want to feel loved. I want to feel like, I mean, gosh, one of the perks of being an entrepreneur is I want to know where my income is coming from. And I think a lot of people are very afraid of that right now. Where's the money for rent coming in? Are they going to give us a stimulus package? I mean, all those questions just break apart that foundation of safety. And we have this opportunity during this disruption to define safety for ourselves and our families, and then build from that definition. And I think that is really, if you're up for it, I understand some people just can't get there yet. If you're up for it, when we're talking about grounding, that's what needs to be done. And then we use things like mantras and connecting to the earth and yoga and meditation to reinforce our new definition of safety and stability. But I think the best thing we can do is really get honest with ourselves right now, because it's the perfect time. We're already confused. We might as well flip our story.
So true. So true. We might as well look at what it's been. I mean, I know for me personally, that's what 4 months was, sitting in Mexico, reevaluating. Okay, this is what success has meant to me. This is what safety has meant to me. This is what joy, what I thought, this is what's brought me joy. This is what's defined my life. And then, but since, we got thrown upside down, do we have some wiggle room here? Can we redefine that? Can we look at it differently? Yes. And I think you're right. It wasn't until I could redefine it that I could relax, that I could actually feel my body start to go.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it was just boom, boom, boom. Like you said, things can change on a daily basis. That's what I would find. There was a season where I would just wake up to a new update.
Yeah.
Right. As of now, you can no longer do this, or you must do that. And it was just be like, oh my God, what am I going to wake up to tomorrow? You know?
So disruptive.
Like you were mentioning too, I think for parents, there's another layer, because like you were saying, you get a plan with your children, but that plan could blow up next week, right?
Yeah. I mean, all of the educators that I've talked to are really clear about this is the plan today. And they emphasize that this plan is going to change. When it's going to change, we don't know. What it's going to look like when it changes, we don't know. And we made the decision of we tap out, like we're going to homeschool. We're going to take control of education and our experience with, and not just education, but I think all of this is disruptive psychologically to kids.
Oh, yes.
And so we made the decision that we're actually not going to introduce any of this as normal to our toddler. It's going to exist out there in the world, and we're going to create safety and normalcy for his education, for his development, for all of his experiences, because he deserves that.
Yeah,
He deserves a chance to grow and thrive and not be instilled with fear, and this is the new normal. So
amen, mama. I'm with you. I'm like, that is not their normal. Don't even tell me that.
Yeah.
No, I know it's true. It's like this creating our own world, because that world, I don't want it like messing with their head,
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, if it's a lot for us, it's a lot for them.
I can't imagine. I mean, school-age kids, our chakra systems are developing, I mean, through adolescence into early adulthood. And when you think about, elementary age children, all of those lower chakras are still developing. And if we're introducing, panic culture and hypersensitivity at this young age, it scares me to think about the generation moving into adulthood, because what are we actually doing within these chakras? We're instilling these programs, really, of being afraid
of the world, being afraid of people, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Derek and I used to talk about this all the time. Like, when we first got married, we went and we did we did something. I don't know. A friend talked us into going to do this thing. And they were talking about how one of the biggest programs that runs in our mind is that it's smart to be afraid of that person, mm-hmm. right? To have your guard up. And it's so easy to go through life that way. Like, I mean, how many were raised with that? Like, don't talk to strangers and all that, right? Mm-hmm. And my whole thing is like, if I instill in my kids that everyone is dangerous and everything is scary, like you said, how will that play out when they're 20, 30, 40?
Yeah.
So here we are. Okay, so we've got to take care of the base chakra. We've got to keep in mind our children are still developing all of this. Mm-hmm. Have you found a good mantra that you're loving right now?
Well, I mean, we say this with our kids is I'm safe and I'm whole. And we say that every single day because it's so important to reinforce their safety and our safety. I mean, I think as children, we just accept safety of what it is, right? If our parents tell us we're safe, right?
We're safe. It's the truth.
And so I think, over the past few months, that's something that we've talked about as parents, is kind of bringing ourselves back to not letting ourselves get swept away, not letting, all these stories going around affect the way we see ourselves and each other and the outside world, and really reaffirming that we're good, we're solid. And no matter what happens, we have little control over the outside world and actions of other people. But we can always come back to a space of safety if it's defined. If it's defined and if it's been programmed into our chakras. And like I said before, we can have trauma programming in our root chakra. We can have chaos programming in our root chakra. And that is my concern with children in COVID era, that we're programming chaos, that we're programming disruption. Mm-hmm. And so when we have that program of chaos and disruption or trauma, we actually subconsciously seek more of that, because that's our definition of safety. It was taught to us to be chaotic. That's how we work, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of us can relate to that when we were less conscious of ourselves. Mm-hmm. We see the same patterns. We can look back and say, oh my gosh, like I really did create a lot of drama for myself because I grew up in a really dramatic household that was normal for me. Mm-hmm. And so I was trying to maintain this homeostasis of drama and chaos because that's what I knew. And it wasn't until I was able to define what I really wanted safety to feel like, mm-hmm. that I was able to actually create it.
Mm. I love that. This is a great time for us to define this as individuals, as families. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Lindsay, how can people connect with you?
I'm on Facebook. And then I have a website, lindsaycrowther.com. And there's a really great help desk on the website that shoots me an email if anybody has any questions. I'm not as active on Facebook anymore just because of the that stuff can stay far away from me.
Exactly.
But I do always check my email, and my website's wonderful and beautiful. And right now we're really digging deep into beliefs, and not just in the root chakra, but all the way up our chakra system. There's all kinds of beliefs that live in different chakras that need to be addressed at this time. But the most important thing for someone really struggling to get their feet under them is taking a look at their definition of safety, and really feeling rooted and grounded in where they fit in their own space.
Yes. Because if we can't find where we belong in our own space, going out there is going to really flip us, you know?
Yeah. You've really, and I think that was one of the most beautiful things about this COVID thing, is it gave people the opportunity to come in, and a lot of people weren't comfortable with spending time with themselves. You know, I think Netflix stock went like way high. Everyone was on Netflix because we're so used to distraction.
Oh yeah.
We are so used to distraction that actually spending time with ourselves can be painful. Right?
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to tell you something. I told Eric, truthfully, I said, I'm not doing one show because I'm in this house arrest for a reason. And if I don't look at myself and all the things I'm angry about and all the things I'm frustrated with, I know it's going to circle back around and find me, right? So I can go numb myself with Netflix for 3 months, and I can do this in 6 months, or I can just do it now, right? We're just going to like put the magnifying glass on every area of life and work through it. Or we're going to delay it and still do it anyway, right?
Yeah, it's going to come.
It's going to come. It's going to come.
Coming for you. I totally agree. I think that this whole thing, I mean, with people coming in, one, we're struggling to be with ourselves. And I think for some people that was a wake-up call, and for some people it was just like let's just slide a little bit deeper into denial. And either one is fine. Neither one is right or wrong.
We get there one way or another.
We're shot. We can't expect people to be, all gung-ho, but if you are, cool.
It's so true. It's like you've got to find a way to deal with today, right? Yeah. And certain days it requires less numbing, less coping mechanisms than others.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And going on a healing journey is no more valuable or better than someone that can just get DoorDash and watch that 70s show. You know what I mean?
See, that's what I did. That was my friend. I was like, okay, Uber Eats, bring me a taco, bring me a rose tea, bring me a croissant. It was like, yeah, it's like you got to have something, right?
Right.
It's like I think of like when babies, they either have a blankie or they have a pacifier, or they have a, they nurse, they have some sort of way. And it's almost like we're back in that state, like, okay.
That's root chakra. It's root chakra. We go right back to needing that comfort, needing that support. And we're gonna use the tools that we're familiar with. I think one of the biggest conversations that has, I'm not going to say bothered, but been brought to my attention several times is like the COVID-15, quarantine 15. And it bothers me because our nervous systems have been on overdrive for so long, even before all of this started. We're living life 60 hours a week. We're barely spending time with our friends and families. We're worried about what our paycheck's going to cover or not cover. Our nervous systems have been on high alert for a very long time. And so when we had the opportunity to come and settle, now the nervous system is saying, we need to make sure we survive when this is amped up again. And so, I mean, appetites increase
Oh,
because
yeah.
we're stocking up for energy, right? We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know when we're going to have to run from a lion.
It's so true. I felt like my inner prepper kick in. Like all of a sudden I'm like, we're going to have enough black beans and rice to last for the next 47 years, right? Like that's not even my personality
Right.
up until now. But I was like, by God, we're going to be prepared. Because like you said, it's like you just kick into that.
It's body chemistry. It's simply body chemistry, and what that looks like on an individual basis. And this is why I have such a hard time with people, bashing their weight gain during quarantine, is because your body's doing what it thinks it needs to do to survive. Are we emotional eating? Possibly. That's all right. That's also a nervous system thing, right?
Yep.
But what our bodies are going to do in this kind of resting period are going to do what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And I feel I teach this in every single class and course that I teach. I teach the difference between our consciousness and our body's consciousness, because we have to honor what our body does to keep us safe. And it will always choose to keep itself safe. Always. It's never doing anything to put you in danger. It never will. And so we really have to, along with being rooted and grounded, we really have to drop into the body and start feeling intuitively what it needs. If we feel that panic coming on, then we have systems in place, or we have someone we can call, or we have Uber Eats if you're Lindsay. But knowing that our body is really a tool and not using it as a weapon against ourselves and blaming the body, blaming ourselves for what the body's doing. That's the first thing of root chakra, is getting grounded in the body. You cannot, like you said before, we cannot find our space in the world if we don't know our space in our body. We end up being confused and taking on different definitions and letting people give us our identities, and it's just a huge mess, and we just feel out of alignment. We don't feel right. Even if we have all the things in the world, if we're not seated in our bodies, in our self-esteem, we can't feel happy and whole. We just can't.
It's so true. It comes back down to this, the whole theme of this year. The outer is, no, it's never going to do it. We got to, it's an inside job. We got to keep coming back to this. Yeah. Lindsay, thank you so much for what you contributed in the book and for the work that you do. I call you the chakra queen. We keep coming back home, to our bodies. Yes. And like you said, honoring them, appreciating our bodies, knowing our bodies are always keeping us safe, always working on our behalf. If you haven't picked up your copy of Awakening, it's available on Amazon. You can go to the table of contents, go to Lindsay's chapter. You're going to love it. And there's all of the ways to contact her there. Lindsay, until next time, big hugs from Colorado.
I'll take it.
Nice. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.